We're live. Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I'm so incredibly honored for you guys to join us. And we have a special guest today. Yay! Can't wait for you guys to hear all the amazing work that she's doing. Because Dr. Maya Shetreat is a neurologist. She's a brain doctor. She's an herbalist, an urban farmer, an author of the best-selling book, and it's literally amazing. It's changed my life. It's going to change yours, so it's a must-get. It's called The Dirt Cure: Healthy Food, Healthy Gut, Happy Child. And it's been even translated into 10 languages. She's been featured in the New York Times, the Chicago Tribune, the Telegraph, NPR, Sky News, Goop, and Dr. Oz Show, and so much more. Dr. Maya is the founder of the Terrain Institute, and where she teaches terrain medicine and earth-based programs for transformational healing. And she's studied with several teachers of spiritual work all over the world, and even with indigenous community elders, which is what an honor and pleasure. Wow. Because right now, I mean, we know, Dr. Maya, that kids are getting sicker and sicker, adults are getting sicker and sicker. And sometimes, especially as a caregiver, as a mom, as a dad, grandma, we really wish there was other things in our tool belt that we can use to really help optimize a child's health. I mean, it's not just one fits all, like one, right? Because right now it's like, oh, you have an asthma, here's this pill, so this is what we were taught. Or, with all these other conditions. But there's so many things, right, that we can actually do to help optimize a child's insides and outsides. And I know you specialize in herbal medicine, which I absolutely love. But, that can get sometimes confusing because there's supplements, there's vitamins, there's minerals, there's nutraceuticals. So can you please, first tell us your story and then help us, clear the mucky water of all this confusion of what herbal medicine is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, my story, my story is that, I came into medicine thinking that I was going to be doing mind-body medicine before it was really cool to do, if it is cool even. And I think all right. All right.
Yeah. We're going to have glitches. That's the part.
We're just in the glitches. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he told me then I saw that I saw this special about healing, and I saw that there were ways to work with mind body where somebody was taking medication, pharmaceuticals for their
Oh.
Well, I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking my team to peek into what could be going on with the internet, but otherwise,
I just checked here. I'm like full speed. So here I'm at full speed internet here.
Should be good. So I
don't know what's good. Maybe it's just with this platform. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, sometimes StreamYard can do that. So we'll see. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this person responded when she thought she was taking her medication. She responded just as though she was getting her medication.
Wow, really?
Without any side effects. She was getting very bad side effects with the meds, and when they stopped giving her the meds, but she thought that she was getting the meds, she actually continued to do very, very well, just through her own belief, right? We call that the placebo effect. And I remember seeing this when I was like in college, and Okay.
Yeah, college is what. Oh no, what's going on? Let me see, maybe we're still.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Let me see what's going on here, you guys. Let me switch it up again here.
All right.
Okay, I don't know, Dr. Maya, what's going on.
I don't know either.
Right?
Well,
This is craziness. Yeah, I know.
and we had a little glitch like this before too. We're like
We
having
did. We did
having
when we were doing the Holistic Kid Show. Thankfully, not during the episode, but it was like when we were talking afterwards, it was glitchy.
for sure. Okay.
And
Well,
so,
we're gonna have a little backup plan here, so I'm gonna try it in a second. But in the meantime, basically, that's why I went to med school. I wanted to do that, but then I kind of got, you know, in med school we get very, very busy. We get very preoccupied with the actual learning of what we're supposed to be doing there.
absolutely.
And so then, you know, my son actually got sick after the course of the many, many years of training. I had my 3 kids. And when my son was a year old, my youngest, he got asthma, what looked like asthma. He was on steroids. He was on antibiotics. He was on inhalers. It was just nonstop. And, you know, I had a very sweet pediatrician who really meant very well. But I kept saying, why is this suddenly happening? What's going on here? Like, what can we do about it? And he said, no, he's just a reactive kid. That's just what happens. He's reactive. And I was like, I don't feel good about that. You know, I don't feel good about that idea that like we just kind of, you know, we just kind of write it off. So,
No, absolutely.
you know, and you've probably seen this too, right? Where it's like, yeah, just accept it. This is how it has to be.
This is just the way it's going to be. You're going to live this life. This is your new normal, is what they told you, right? That's our new normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is not our new normal.
Right. Well, and so I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm just supposed to accept that this is like what life is going to be for this person for the rest of his days. Like, that makes no sense to me. And he was, meanwhile, on all these meds constantly, and he was still getting sick. It wasn't like the meds even made him better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up doing a really deep dive into the scientific literature, which at the time, I mean, nobody was talking about gut, immune, brain. Nobody was talking about the microbiome in like a big public way. We didn't have like New York Times, you know, cover stories on it. And basically, I found all that scientific literature and I started to operate that way. And not only did it help my son, which I found out he was allergic to soy, which was a big reason he was having issues due to a mold exposure, which was another thing I had to uncover. But, you know, but then I was able to start to apply it to my practice, to the kids in my practice and the adults in my practice. And we started really getting like from a fundamental level, we started changing diet. I studied herbalism. And I also started to get more involved in, you know, in mind body and these different kinds of approaches. And it was really profound. I mean, it got to the point that I really didn't even have to use pharmaceuticals almost at all in my practice.
Wow.
And still, I was able to get, for most people, I was able to get really excellent results as far as helping them to manage or even heal from chronic medical conditions.
Wow. And that must blow somebody's mind out there. That's craziness because, again, I mean, we were taught like, you know, like all those years of pharmacology that we studied and how you have been able to use then like more natural ways to do it with less side effects, almost no side effects, to help improve your family's chronic health condition. So I would love to dive in a little bit more in detail about what herbal medicine even really is And for those people, because there's a lot of different types of herbal medicines out there, and it can be really confusing. So I would love your guidance on that.
Yeah, I mean, so herbal medicine is really just working with plants, and it can be really, when we say plants, even though it's not technically plants, like it could be, mushrooms too. So like, working with plants, trees, anything that kind of grows in the natural world, and making medicine, or engaging with those medicines. You don't have to make the medicine in order to be using herbal medicine, but then, helping your body to get into balance. So herbal medicine, and that's like one of the key points of herbal medicine, is that it isn't just like, oh, if you like, this pharmaceutical drug, you will love this, herb that does the same thing. Herbal medicine, and this kind of gets to what you just said about pharmacology. We take all these pharmacology courses, and what they like in pharmacology is, here is the active ingredient of this drug that does this thing in the body, or these things in the body. But plants and mushrooms are very complex. They are as complex as we are in terms of their thousands and thousands and thousands of compounds. They've been around, evolving for a very, very long time. Since the beginning of creation, we have been in this relationship with these very complex beings, and they actually influence our bodies in complex ways. So actually, like when I've talked to people who do research, they're very interested in botanicals, but they struggle with the idea that we are engaging with something very complex. They say, oh no, we have to look at just the one compound that's active. And I'm like, all the compounds are active. So, it's like a whole different way of thinking about things. And it's the same way we like to think about the human body in conventional medicine. Like your liver is separate from your brain, is separate from your stomach, is separate from your, immune system, when really, everything is all connected.
All connected. Absolutely. Absolutely. So can you give us some examples? Do you have some stories of like patients that you've seen and how you've been able to help them with this use? And then, because I think that's how people are really going to understand the benefit of this, and how it really has to be tailored to you. But then you talk all about that in your course that we'll talk about. But would love to hear some stories. I love stories.
Yeah, well, over the years, obviously, I mean, the thing about herbal medicine also is that people will say, oh, like, what do you do for seizures, or what do you do for headaches, or what do you do for ADD, or something like that. And herbal medicine is about treating people. So if you're, I mean, I've even used herbal medicine to treat my chickens. I keep chickens. I use herbal medicine to treat my dog. And I use herbal medicine, obviously, to treat my family and my people in my practice. So, and herbal medicine, just as a preface, a lot of people don't think of herbal medicine as, they think of it as like something you have to go get in a bottle or something. But really, you drink tea, any kind of tea, that's herbal medicine. If you drink coffee, that's herbal medicine. It's a bitter tonic. If you use turmeric or cumin or paprika or cayenne or ginger, that's herbal medicine. And I am now drinking, I'll show you my mug, my bee mug, it's filled with ginger tea. I cut up ginger root, I boil it for about 10 minutes and then simmer it till it gets really spicy. And then I add a spoon of local raw honey to it. And I drink that, and that is like so good for the gut, digestion. It's very warming when it gets cold outside. It's also very good for pain. It's a strong anti-inflammatory. So ginger is like this amazing and delicious, in my opinion, delicious medicine. But it's like we engage with these things all the time, especially like I think those of us who come from kind of more ethnic backgrounds where like it's normal to have food that's very, very flavorful and that has lots of different spices and, different things that we add, that is like, we're eating our medicine all the time. So that's kind of the first thing,
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
feeding us every single minute and changing our physiology and bringing us into balance. There's such cool science around like turmeric, for example, which I use a lot in my cooking. And turmeric is this beautiful golden yellow spice that is used a lot in curries. It's used a lot in Middle Eastern food. It's used a lot in Asian and East Asian food. So turmeric actually changes the quality of the microbiome. It changes your internal microbial community.
What? Wow, how cool.
Right? So it's one of the strongest anti-inflammatories we know about. So for people who have like colitis, like any kind of inflammatory bowel syndrome, or any kind of even irritable bowel, where they're having like urgency or gas or like stomach aches or bloating or constipation, a lot of what's happening there is that the microbiome, the 3 to 5 pounds of organisms that live in and on our body, are out of balance. Maybe there are too many of one thing, maybe there are not enough of another thing, or there are not enough kinds. And people used to say, scientists and doctors said, well, you know what? Turmeric is not well absorbed into the bloodstream. It stays in the gut. You eat it, it stays in the gut. So it's good for the gut, but it's not going to help you elsewhere. Turns out it does help you elsewhere, even if it's not well absorbed. Why? Because the organisms, the bacteria and other kinds of microscopic organisms that live in our gut, change because of turmeric. And then they change the way they communicate with our cells and our mitochondria and all the different other parts of our body, so that it changes because of the bacteria that live in our gut. So it's like really, really cool, because it's like plants are talking to our cells by way of bacteria.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. So then we can then start to integrate these into our regular daily routines, these foods and, like herbs and spices. And then that can help tremendously with our health. That's awesome. Awesome. Super easy, right? And effective.
Yeah, it's so easy. And the big key, though, is you want to make sure, and we'll get to more like intensive herbal medicine in a minute, because obviously there are things that are not just like, oh, we eat these every day. There are things we might take very intentionally, and I'll talk about a few of those things. But even when you're eating it, it's helping you stay in balance in like sort of like delicious preventive care every day. But the key is you want to make sure that what you're taking in is fresh. So in other words, if you have spices that have been sitting on your shelf for like 11 years, and you just use a little sprinkle every now and again, that's not going to be very fresh. And so it's not going to have the same kick and the same influence and benefit. Same with tea. If you're getting tea, and it's sort of sitting in your cabinet for like months or years, it's not going to have the same oomph. So with tea, you want to use fresher tea. You want to get from good companies, or even, make it fresh. Like I grow peppermint, or I grow spearmint outside. So all summer and spring and, fall, I'm clipping it and just scalding it with hot water, covering it, letting it sit for 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm getting all the benefits of this fresh scalded tea. So there are ways to do things like that, just having a little herb garden, or you can use tea bags, but you want to use a few if you want to really get the full medicinal effect. You're not just going to have like 1 bag of the chamomile tea. You're going to have like 3 bags or 5 bags to really get the full medicinal strong effect. So that's what you can do just like in daily life to enjoy the benefits of herbs and plants and herbal medicine through your food. But then there are times when you really, really need something more, right? So it's always great to be doing those things, but even if you're doing all those things, sometimes things will come up. And so like, for example, I had a little boy who came to see me who had terrible, terrible allergies. His eyes were turning bright red. They were itching him. He had to stay home from school. In fact, it was so bad. And he was in a lot of distress. And he went to an allergist and got all kinds of medications, actually. Like everything you could think of. He had drops, he had pills, he had inhalers, he had everything under the sun, and nothing helped. His eyes were bright red, itchy, swollen almost shut. And so I got him on this regimen. So there are different things that we can use for allergies that are very, very effective. So one of the things that I use is reishi mushroom. So I gave him, and usually with herbs, I'll do a combo. So sometimes it's just one thing that does the whole job. So like my favorite, if I was going to say my go-to for something allergic, before anything else, I love nettles, stinging nettles. And you can get it as a tincture, which is when it's dissolved in alcohol, or you can even make a tea from it. So you have more than one option, but stinging nettles is like key. It's awesome. And it's great for kids. It's great for adults and even breastfeeding moms, which, there are most breastfeeding moms. And this is how I first discovered nettles. Was I was breastfeeding my son and I didn't want to take an antihistamine or something that was going to dry up my milk, but I had allergies that year. And nettles actually increase breast milk if you're breastfeeding, but at the same time, totally safe for kids, and it's also so nutritive. So nettles are like almost like taking a multivitamin, multimineral.
I need to start that.
Yeah, they're great. And they are a natural antihistamine without drying you up. So nettles by themselves are awesome. And that's what I started him with. And he saw some relief, but he wasn't quite there. So I added in reishi mushroom, which is really great. It's a medicinal mushroom that it does all kinds of wonderful things. It balances blood sugar. It helps with energy. It helps with infections, all of those things. But it also balances different arms of the immune system so that it helps you to be less allergic. And so I put him on reishi mushroom along with nettles and actually, believe it or not, echinacea. A lot of people think about echinacea as being a really good herb for preventing sickness, which it is, especially if you take it in the first 48 hours. But it turns out echinacea is actually excellent for acute allergies. So that was very helpful. And then I put him on eyebright. And eyebright is actually really helpful also for allergies, especially that manifest in the eyes. And with that combo, because remember how severely allergic he was, so we had to kind of take out the big guns in a sense. We had to really be strong, right? I mean, I have to be able to, even pharmaceuticals weren't helping. We got him totally back to normal. And he was able to be outside, do his whole spring, his whole summer, and no issues. Just with that regimen for that period of time. And then he came off it once the allergy got better, and he was great.
Wow. So is this something that people can start learning from home, like on their own? They should go to a practitioner about? And please tell us a little bit more about your certification programs.
Sure. So the answer is this. I think simple herbal medicine is something that belongs to everybody. Every person should be able to access all of these medicines, many of which literally grow in your own yard. I mean, we don't even think about it. Like dandelion, for example, most of us think of as being like a weed. Nobody cares about it, But when I go out in my yard in the summertime or spring even, and I see dandelions, I make medicine from the dandelions. I make fritters from those little yellow dandelion blossoms. I actually dry the roots and make tea from dandelion roots, which is like one of the most wonderful liver cleanses that you could have.
Wow.
I see violets outside, the little violet flowers with little heart-shaped leaves. That's an incredible lymphatic support. Really good for breast health, especially. So for people who have, were any concern about like lumpy breasts or If they have breast cancer that runs in their family, violet, in my mind, is a must because it's really good for lymphatic cleaning, but especially in the breasts. So that's another springtime herb that I love. And then clover is another one. So you'll see these red clover flowers. They're like little puffball, almost look like little like paintbrushes, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And pink, and they're all over the place usually. And those red clover flowers are a wonderful hormone balancer and very nutritive, like nettles. There's something that I put in a person who needs more nutrients. You know, we want to really help them heal with more nutrients. Red clover is very balancing. It's also so good for acne. I love it. So these kinds of things, and this is what I teach actually in my herbal course, in my intro to herbalism, is I teach people all about these kinds of plants and what's very safe to use so that people can just engage with those kinds of herbs, because I do think these are safe. And there are a lot of herbs that are very, very safe and easy to use, and it's good to incorporate them into your life. Then there are ones that are a little more complex to use, and those I do think it's important to be educated. I mean, I think there are great books out there, but there's something about learning with a teacher, I think, that makes a really big difference for a lot of people. So so that is another thing that I love teaching, and I have a whole series of herbal courses. And then you asked me about my certification. So the certification, and we have open registration right now, is actually about how to, it's a little more than about just using herbs. It's about how do we engage with the natural world around us to help us to be more connected to ourselves and who we are really here to be. So that kind of takes it kind of to the next level, where it's not just about learning what herbs to use, even though that's part of it. It's learning, how do we connect to nature, and how does nature help us connect to ourselves better and become more who we are here to be. So it's like the certification course is more about becoming a leader in bringing these things to your community. So if you're a teacher, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a pharmacist, we've had people from the journalists, we've had all kinds of medical practitioners, you know, all come through this certification and really bring this information into their lives and into their communities, and into schools and into practices, so that they are, you know, more connected to the natural world, including herbs, plants, animals, you know, stones, seeds, sky. You know, we do meditations, we do different kinds of practices, and of course lectures. And it's a way of bringing together the science about our health and about the natural world, and connecting it to indigenous knowing. You know, is something bigger than just than science, but they both come together in, I think, a really beautiful way that people really, really enjoy.
Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Can we answer some questions here? There's a couple questions that we can do, and then we can conclude it, because I know you are very busy. But you guys, this is something that I know as a doctor that we were never taught herbal medicine, obviously, but it's super powerful. And if you're going to get this information from anyone, Dr. Maya is the person to get this from, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people that, you know, claim they know something, but it can be. But Dr. Maya is legit. You've got to make sure to get her courses and start to educate and empowering your families, because the more tools we have in our tool belt to help with our family's health, the better we are for everybody and humanity and society. So let's go ahead and answer some questions here. And so what about moringa for kids?
So the great thing, I don't use a lot of moringa daily in my practice, but moringa is a really potent antioxidant, very nutrient dense. So, you know, I think, like, if you're not really treating a specific illness and you just want to kind of fold it into the diet and into, like, day to day. You know, I think moringa can be wonderful. It's very, very nutrient dense, very high in like vitamin C, for example.
Mhm.
And, you know, when we're working with kids, generally, the key is never to overdo it, you know, because kids actually, they don't need a whole lot to get benefit. So you want to, like, you know, a lot of times I think we can be very like type A about things, and we want to, you know, give a lot of something and think like more is better. So it's kind of nice, like with moringa, just to kind of introduce it, you know, a few times a week and get those benefits.
Absolutely. Thank you. What about for controlling and then making our brain calm and concentrating? Are there specific ones for that?
Yes. I mean, I have a whole herbal course just on, like a whole module just on herbs for like
Wow.
and sort of stress and anxiety and all of those things to stay calm and to focus. So there's a lot that people can do, but like some of the most basic ones for staying calm, I'll give a few that I love. One is passion flower, wonderful for staying calm. Skullcap is another one. I love skullcap. That's also good. For kids, I love chamomile. I mentioned that before. Chamomile is wonderful. It's very gentle. It can help them sleep. It can help them stay calm. One of my very favorites for not getting sleepy but feeling calm is called wild milky oats.
Ooh.
So that is like safe. I use it in young kids, and a lot of times their moms will say, "Oh, I tried it, and wow, that is amazing. I feel so good." So wild milky oats tincture is wonderful for helping with just staying calm.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Here's one question here. Eczema. When
Mhm.
steroids don't help.
Well, so eczema is all about starting in the gut. So, you know, we think of like what's going on in the skin as we should only put things topically on the skin. And there are definitely a lot of things you can use, like calendula is something I love for helping heal skin from eczema, just as an example. But what you want to do is you want to be thinking about food, and you want to be thinking about microbes. So first and foremost, I'd be thinking about like maybe cutting out dairy, maybe cutting out gluten as a trial for like a month, maybe 2 months, looking at soy or eggs if those don't do anything. So that's really huge, is to cut certain foods sometimes, at least for a period of time. Starting probiotics or fermented foods like sauerkraut or kombucha, or, you know, or just taking a probiotic pill or powder can be really helpful. And then finally, um, aloe. I love, love, love.
I love aloe. Yeah.
Yeah, and aloe, you want to make sure for kids especially, but for all of us, we want to be healing the gut lining. You want to use the inner fillet, the gel of the aloe. So either you're using your own aloe, or if you're buying like a supplement or something, you want to make sure it's not the whole leaf, because the whole leaf can be irritating and act as a laxative, meaning it's going to make you poop. So you don't want that. What you want is that inner gel part, because that basically heals the gut lining. And when you're healing the gut lining, you're also healing the skin, the actual skin. So they're very, very connected.
Oh my gosh, so many powerful tools that we can use to help our families. So the certification is open now. And so you guys, I have the links in the description. I've been posting them here. I've been posting them in the comments. So they're everyone. This is a must-have. This course is a must-have for your family. It'll add some more tools to your tool belt to really aid in any sicknesses and optimizing your overall health and well-being for not just you, but for the family. So any last words for us, Dr. Maya?
You know, I just think I would say that, you know, it's very, very possible to become comfortable with herbs and with all these kinds of connections. And, you know, whether people are doing the certification course or they're doing the intro to herbalism, there's a lot that all of us can do. You don't have to be a doctor. You know, we're doctors, but you don't have to be a doctor to be able to have these tools to help heal your family. And the other thing I just want to say is thank you so much. I really love your work so much. It's such an honor to get to be here with you today. I really love it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You were my inspiration. You were one of my heroes. Mwah. So excellent, everybody. If you guys have any questions, leave it here in the comments below, and we'll be sure to answer them. Check out her courses. This will be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You got to do this for your family. Certification courses are open now. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for making this world a better place, Dr. Maya, and empowering all of us caregivers and moms, or, you know, anybody, basically the planet, and we all thank you. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Take care.